as my daughter literally walks in. So I guess you're going to make your debut. Say hi. Say hi to everybody, Michaela. Pelicans once again lose 120-109. Going to be maybe a lot of kids on the show. Make sure you smash the like button. Let's do it.
First took away. That's the best. Get your money's worth now.
Presented by the Scott Vicknair Injury Law Firm. They always fight for the win. Make sure to give them a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. Yes, a free consultation. They always fight for the win. Chaz, 5. Ross joined the show. Ross for GM. Once again, just another lackluster performance. Jared, I guess you want to talk Yves Missi? You want the Missi looks great.
Yeah,
Missi
man.
looks great.
Yeah, he does look good, man. His energy, his effort, his ability to time shots, his finishing is getting better. I just want to see him be able to catch, anything around, someone giving him a pass, whether it's a bounce pass or a fast pass. Just needs to get better with that. But just as time has gone on, I'm just more comfortable being confident in Yves Missi's ability. Again, the rate of improvement scared me a little initially, but I mean, again, as the season has gone on, you can just see the talent just rising as he's playing against better talent than he is, and he's still having success. I think that's the thing he should be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, Ross, once again, you can see just the progression of every single night. He's getting better. What'd you see from him? Because I want to hear your thoughts on him and Chaz, from you, and then I'll see Chaz here.
Yeah, I mean, we've I think been like basically from the time he got here to today. It's like it's rare almost that and there's been maybe some peaks and valleys a little bit, but not really that many valleys in terms of expectation versus what he's done. I can't think of a player that was with the Pelicans drafted anywhere at any point in the draft that has progressed as consistent over like the first quarter of a season. I mean, I just feel like he almost does something each game where I'm like, man, that's a step, and a lot of it's mental, but it's a step. Like, I mean, I don't know, what did he end up with, 3 or 4 blocks tonight? But I felt like he affected a lot more than 3 or 4, just things like that. I mean, again, going back to that first week in the preseason, I didn't think he'd be able to get through a game without fouling out. And the fact that now he's doing a really great job of not fouling, but of contesting shots, not fouling, verticality, being physical. I've never been more wrong on a player in my life.
I thought he played well. I ain't gonna lie. I thought he cool. Like I just don't have a ton of praises to sing by anybody on the roster right now. I think his continued growth and availability has to be applauded. He is also dealing with an arm or shoulder injuries playing through that, but he also didn't play against any centers today.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of saw him get killed a little bit early in the game, but toward the second half, I'll say second quarter, third quarter, he kind of figured it out, and then Ja just did what Ja does when he's healthy. And overall, yeah.
But I mean, to that point, like, I think he needs games like this, though, right?
Yeah.
Like to get better. Like you got to go against the elite guards in the NBA, and yeah, they're just as athletic as you are, and they're smarter at this point. So being caught in the middle, not knowing, when to hedge or when to double, or like these are things he has to learn. So I'd rather him learn now while the team sucks. That's why his playing minutes needs to increase or stay at a very high rate as we kind of get into the muck of the season.
Yeah, I was going to basically say the same thing. Is almost, if you're trying to find some kind of like weird silver lining, which in a season like this, that for the most part there isn't one. But you really start looking for like individual contributors, and I think he's turned himself into somebody that like I can at least envision moving forward having a role, right? And like the fact that he continues to get better, this is like a best case scenario, I think, for somebody like Missi, because he's the G League is useful for certain players, right? Because they just need they need to play, but they're not ready physically or mentally to play at the NBA level. There's not opportunity for them at the NBA level sometimes. And I think for Missi, this is kind of like the best of both worlds, because there's one, an opportunity, and two, a need. And it's, so I think those two things, and the team, and a team, well, I was gonna say a team with no expectations. I have no expectations for the team. They might have expectations for themselves, but like a team that's not going to win any games anyway, right? So it's like, hey, trial by fire a little bit. And I would rather, just having watched the NBA a lot, like I feel more comfortable putting a young center into it, just like a, hey, go play situation, than like a point guard. You put a point guard in and he's asked to run a team, that's when I find you can get a real disaster. You put a center in a learning environment like that, it's just like, all right, the worst thing happens, he fouls out or something. So I don't see, I think he's been the lone bright spot.
Yeah, so I'm guessing I'm just catching up on the Yves Missi conversation. Let's get to a more broader conversation. I'm at the point now where these games are it's just hard to get through. They're 4-16. And Chaz, we talk about Chaz and Jarrett, but Brandon Ingram once again sits out tonight with calf soreness. Obviously, shout out Theo's. Always powered by 4D Energy right there, powered. The Brandon Ingram situation is interesting, right? He hasn't played a game since he fired his agency, and it seems like David Griffin kind of has a shit show in his hands. Zion Williamson once again has missed more games than he's played. You got the Brandon Ingram contract situation, which we've been talking about in media day. And thank God Yves Missi has been productive since drafting him, which nobody could have said. But the reality of the situation, Chaz, is Griff's got a major problem on his hands. They're 4-16. His war chest is depleted. He has a Zion situation. He has a Brandon situation. And they are the worst team in the league in points in the paint, giving up points in the paint. What are your, thoughts overall on the situation David Griffin's facing right now?
I think he is the situation. He is also the face of the situation. I think everything happens to coincide with his arrival. Yeah, of course, the team had injury issues dating, before David Griffin, but his job is, we have to be really clear about what David Griffin's job is to usher in a new era of Pelicans basketball, one of productivity, one of transparency, one of success by the precedents. By the benchmarks he set himself. No one went out and demanded this of him. He set these benchmarks himself, and they seem more and more unattainable for, as much as I want to credit Yves Missi, and I do think he's played well. Teams are living at the rim. Like, I saw one sequence tonight where I think Memphis shot about 15 threes in a row or something. It's like, nah, you're getting whatever you want at the rim. There's zero deterrence at the rim. So you could just attack if you wanted to, and you'd probably score every time. So, it's things like that where it depends on if you want to be glass half full or you want to be glass half empty. But overall, I think David Griffin's been he's been terrible. I think we all know at this point Brandon is sitting because of the agency situation. I truthfully, when he was playing, I don't think he was doing himself any favors with the way he was playing this season. He gave it a shot, but it just wasn't really, he wasn't lighting up the world prior to his injury designations. We saw him warming up today, appeared to be fine. Shout out to him for not taking unnecessary risks. In closing, I feel like discretion is the better part of valor at this point. I think, you raise the flags and you sell high or sell meh on what you can, and you just let whoever the new regime is carry forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, and y'all can go into more detail on Sunday. I'm not going to be able to make the Sunday show, but that's going to be basically the conversation. Obviously, we'll do a recap, but there needs to be an actual honest conversation about David Griffin, Jarrett. And I actually looked up a stat today. At one point tonight, through three quarters, the Grizzlies had 60 points in the paint. They had 60. So I looked at points, just team opponents' points in the paint. The Pelicans rank second to last and giving up 54 points in the paint every single night. And we have talked about this, the center position. What are you going to do? You got rid of Larry Nance, got rid of Jonas Valanciunas, even Cody Zeller to an extent. And your answer was Daniel Tice drafting a rookie who has potential but very raw. And then in media day, also signing Trey Jemison. And then media day, Jarrett saying we're going to figure it out. That's not an acceptable answer. It's not a plan, and it's coming to a head now at this point. It's a joke, to say it nicely.
You know how many games?
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Jared. No, I just thinking about it, and very apropos with young prospects sending that. But you know how many playoff series David Griffin has won without LeBron?
None.
0.
And yeah, that's right. You know how many playoff games David Griffin led team won without LeBron?
2.
Just playoff game. 2.
Oh, 2.
Without Devin Booker also.
2. So what are you're getting exactly what you paid for. Like it ain't like, I mean, this guy came over with some resume that should have.
Right.
Yeah. It's in Bob Myers or something, right? This is, yeah. You pick off the scrap heap, you get trash.
This is an Oscar Mayer.
Right.
Go ahead, Jared.
You know what's funny about exactly what you guys are saying? I was cleaning up my office and I found something that kind of it's actually ironic. I found this Slam magazine, the Cursed Slam magazine, and I remember reading this article, and then one of the first lines, it said, in a city full of energy and passion, the buzz around the Pelicans has never been louder. The celebration has already begun, and it could go on for quite a while. It never started. It never happened. And the crazy thing about this is all under Griff, and it mimics exactly what we see today. Talented individuals, yes, but they make no sense collectively. No sense. You have no direction. You have no purpose. You have no promise. Just basketball players in a uniform that make no sense with each other. 2 of these individuals are still here. One may be out the door sooner than the other, but Griff is the true problem. He is the mob that they speak of in this article. That is Griff. He's the problem. He's the virus. He controls it all. This is why the poor product we see on this basketball floor, and we continue to talk about it, and we're trying to come up with new adjectives to describe it, but we can't. It's the same old. Until he leaves, nothing will change.
So, you know what's funny? I saw somebody post this, and they were saying how Griff built a talented roster. That's totally untrue, right? Because think about this: the Pelicans are generating wide open looks for guys. Those guys just can't shoot. So even if you had the Zions and the Brandons and let's say the team's totally healthy, you still only have 3 shooters on this roster. And Hawkins is a stretch as like a shooter, right? He's probably more of a scorer than a traditional shooter. So that leaves you with 2 shooters on the roster, being CJ and Trey, right? People are going to leave Javonte Green open no matter what. Brandon Boston, his game was never really like a 3-point score. He's kind of elevated that, at this point, but it's still not necessarily his game. People are comfortable leaving him. Brandon, he's taking more threes, but he's making 2 out of 6 this season. So he's still like a probably average to below average 3-point shooter. So you still have the same problems that you had coming into the season. And that just goes on team building and, being, I don't want to say over loyal, but probably overvaluing your role players and not consistently looking to upgrade. Even with Najee Marshall, who's striving in Dallas right now, it's like, bro, you had 2 seasons in a row to move Najee Marshall for a 2nd-round pick or a protected first or something of that nature, and you just didn't do it.
Yep.
Like, you just didn't do it. You just let him walk in free agency instead of utilizing that salary. You just, for at least a 2nd-round pick, get yourself something. You just let him walk. Matt Ryan's gone. You can sure use Matt Ryan right now. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't bring Matt back on the 2-way. You got Jamal Cain, y'all really tanking. Y'all got Jamal Cain sitting out games. You bring guys like Noel, and it's just, the team is just, man, it's crazy. Griff, for as much of a dictatorship as he runs, where he really messed up at is when he gave other people a voice early on.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit more on that. What do you mean, Chaz?
I think all this starts with Stan Van Gundy getting fired. I think, to me, that's the domino that puts everything in motion. Because, again, like Willie Green, no one, like DeJounte Murray wasn't here, but you could tell by how he was like kind of talking over Willie Green and challenging some of the things he was saying during his press conference. He don't respect Willie Green. So, and it's not that Stan Van Gundy is he is a coaching savant, but it's not that I think he's a savant at this stage in his coaching career. It's just the fact that you had a chance to at least instill some level of discipline, some level of regimen, some level of accountability. And now you're 4 years in with something that hasn't worked. And, Brandon, I think he's been solid this season, but this team just ain't good without Zion. That's what it all boils down to.
And it goes back to you're a year late on Brandon, as you've been saying, Chaz, but also back to day one of Zion Williamson. There's been no accountability with Zion. He's done whatever the hell he's want, and now we're at a situation in which he's missed more games than he's played. You're in year 6, and he's played in 0 playoff games.
Or at least if you're gonna let him do what he wants, let him do everything he wants. Let him play. Let him play. You know what I'm saying? Let him play. And if it goes wrong, it's on him. But you know what I'm saying? The fact that, certain things didn't happen, now it's like when you deal with a person who's immature, in his mind, you're holding him back. When it's like, no, man, you holding yourself back and you holding us as a collective back. But now it's a pissing match. You know what I'm saying? The way I could play. Well, no, you can't. Well, all right, whatever. And the other guys like, well, I don't think I should be playing. Yeah, you probably shouldn't, to be honest. It's just insanity now.
It's just annoying now, Jarrett, that Griff's had multiple fall guys, and also some are women as well. Aaron Nelson was a fall guy. Teresa Weatherspoon was a fall girl. Willie Green, Stan Van Gundy was a fall guy. Alvin Gentry was a fall guy. Now we're getting into Willie Green being a fall guy. It's getting to the point now where it is so like the answer is just staring us right in the face of like, no, you're the problem. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe this is the culture you built. There's zero accountability. Yeah.
He's the mob. This is what David Griffin is. He gives.
You let JV go. I'm sorry to make a chalk, Jared, but like this is the plan of, okay, we're not going to re-sign JV. So your answer is Daniel Tice, Trey Jemison, and you got very lucky with Yves Missi. You got very, very lucky. And also Carlo. That was your plan at the center position, and then media day, you're going to say, oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and the fact that no one else pushed back on this to say like you're gonna figure it out. Well,
I wouldn't say nobody else. There was one network that broke that presser down.
I'm saying like in the space, yeah. Just in that space, like no one said, well, what kind of have you figured out, right? Since David Griffin has been here, what has he figured out? Like to give the opportunity, for a fan base to say, hey, give me a chance to figure this out. Well, you would have had to show me like you figured something else out to give you that credence to do so, which he hasn't. He hasn't figured anything out. None of this looks good. We told you before the season, like this doesn't look good. We told you a couple years ago, this doesn't look good. It's still the same thing. Chaz made some points. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, go ahead, Bob. That was my fault.
Chaz made some points about like this team's good when Zion plays. To be honest, I don't know if that's necessarily true, bro.
Yeah, not good, but it's like you have more of a puncher's chance when he plays versus when he does. Like it's just y'all just look so out talented.
right. You know what I'm saying? Like none of it's sustainable. That's my true issue with this whole thing. Like, it's not realistic. I let them kids talk. It's not realistic. It doesn't appreciate the birthday wishes. It's not realistic. It doesn't help anybody. If you're a fan, like your goal is, hey, check all the kids. I'm gonna go get my kids, man.
Eating Theos.
Yep. Pizza man over here.
Pizza.
Say hey, Jones.
But that's the thing, like, right? We don't know what this consistent product is going to look like. Shout out to Theo's for being consistent, because every time we go there,
Right.
it's delicious. I can curse. It's delicious. It's magnificent. The drinks are good. The people are good. The pizza is amazing.
That's me.
Yep. And what I was gonna say is what I was gonna say is imagine losing 13 or 14. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, I will. Imagine losing 13 or 14 and not addressing it. 13 or 14 by an average of 14 points.
Right.
Like getting blown out in 13 or 14 and just
And the one game you won is,
averaging like, I think over those games you're averaging like 10 threes a game. It's crazy to me. It's one thing if you're going to be the control the narrative guy and you're going to be the dictator that Griff is. Where you at? Where are you?
I think right now he's ducking the shrapnel right now, because, like, again, one of the reasons I always said I think that David Griffin said he didn't like working with LeBron is because it comes with expectations, right? Yeah. And so people asking questions, but I don't know if they're necessarily asking the right questions to people who are going to give them transparent answers, right? You're getting some transparency. You're getting DeJounte saying, the game plan sucked and things of that nature. You got Brandon Ingram saying, yeah, we got by on talent alone. You got Zion saying, well, I feel like I could play. Or I feel like I could do a lot right now. You got guys who are sending clear messages, depending on if people want to pick up what they're saying and carry that message on. But I think there's so little good faith, even by those guys, DeJounte aside, there's so little goodwill or good faith from those people that you're hesitant to even say, well, look how they're mistreating Brandon, or look how they're mistreating Zion. Won't you just do this, or won't you this? It's like, nah. It's like, look, all y'all the problem. But see, Griff, he just gets to hide, and think about this. There hasn't even been any like team meetings. You know how most teams, they be like, yeah, we have a team meet. It's like, bro, this is crazy. Y'all wouldn't even be like in contention for the play-in if y'all were in the East. You're third from last in the league. You're third from last in the league. And you have 2 back-to-backs coming up, 3 back-to-backs in December, if I'm not mistaken. Come on, man.
What would y'all say? I'm glad y'all bring up these points, but what would y'all say to the people that would be, the roster's been injured? What would y'all say to that?
It depends.
Because I'm worried that that's going to be the excuse. That's what I'm worried about.
It hasn't been injured enough to this point, because even your roster wasn't injured when you had those 2 or the people who mattered the most were available up until that Orlando Magic game, and you still weren't like blowing the league away. It was already still an uphill battle. Shout out to DeJounte, but missing DeJounte shouldn't mean this much to your team, and it didn't mean that much because he's been back for 2 games now, his first 2 games. But even in the preseason, he's struggling out the gates to kind of integrate himself into a new system, if there is a system, and around new players. But one person being down shouldn't cause this much of just chaos. You know what I'm saying? And so far, that's what they've been banking on. Like, oh, we're gonna get DeJounte back. It's gonna be fixed. It's like, nah.
it's injured because, well, one, because you've invested in like injury prone players, and 2, you've allowed it to be injured, right? Like, is Brandon hurt right now? Don't know. Is Zion hurt right now? Questionable. But I mean, Trey Murphy's played about 55, 60 games a year since he's been in the NBA. Brandon averages about 60 games played since he's been in the NBA. Zion far less than that. So it's one thing, like you can use that reasoning in year 1 or 2, year 3 maybe, year 4 we can make changes to address that. Year 5 we can certainly make changes to address that. Year 6, like get out, just I don't that for me is an excuse at this in a year 1, year 2, year 3, fair, right? Hey, look, man, things happen, sometimes injuries pop up, whatever. Year 6, year 7, I mean, that to me is a pathetic excuse at this point. And again, and I'm glad whoever just pulled that comment up. It doesn't change anything because they've been saying now forever, you need to shoot more threes, shoot more threes, shoot more threes. Well, over this 15-game losing streak, you average like 9 threes a game, I think, or something like that. Like nothing's changed.
And to that point, like you don't draw up anything. Your system, as even Chaz alluded to, you don't have one. You don't run anything consistently that gets open threes. Yeah, there are times where guys that you don't want shooting the basketball get open looks because the other guys that can shoot the basketball have, drawn to. So you kick out to a Javonte Green. Of course, that's an open look, but that's not necessarily the guy you want shooting the open look. You don't create open looks for guys that can shoot. And that's truly the problem. That's the issue. You don't reverse engineer and say, okay, we want Trey shooting corner threes because he's really good at shooting corner threes, if that's necessarily the case. I think he's better at shooting it at the wing, if I'm not mistaken. But like they don't draw anything to, okay, let's have CJ come off this curl. That means he's going to draw 2, and then you'll have Trey as an option on the wing. They don't do any of that. They don't do anything that makes the other team think. They had one set in the first quarter, and they got an alley-oop to Yves Missi from DeJounte. We didn't see another set in the first quarter. Not another. We didn't see anything. It was just one-on-one from the top of the key, try to draw 2 so you can kick. That's not good basketball for a team that can't create for themselves.
Can I ask a question? Chaz, I know we especially have talked about the CJ situation kind of a lot, especially with his contract and everything else. Do you think, and I respect CJ as an adult, as a professional, somebody who plays when he can play, all that stuff, right? Since he's come back from, I think, one of the longer injury stints he's had that I can really remember, but definitely since he's been here, he's come back and played 30 minutes, and tonight 36 minutes. And let's keep it a buck. This team this year, next year is not winning a thing. CJ is not getting any younger. Given how much the team should respect CJ,
yeah.
Do you at this point, do you go to him and say, hey, this is not we know this is not going in a good direction. Like, do you want to go somewhere else? And if so, where? And we'll try and work that out. Because that to me at this point feels like a possible win-win situation. Like as opposed to just keeping him handcuffed to a sinking ship. He feels like the one person that they should be communicating with, like, hey, if you want to be here, cool, you can stay. But we also are willing to do right by you and try to get you where you want to go, because this thing ain't. And the flip of that, do you think there's any chance he would ask?
I think he might be a little too professional to come out and ask, but I think they tried to move him last year, right? I think right now it would probably be difficult to move CJ without paying a premium. But I absolutely think you look to move CJ. David Griffin just did so many things wrong with the Drew Holiday situation, because sending Drew Holiday to the Milwaukee Bucks set a precedent, right? And the precedent is, we send our guys to winning situations, but it also limits the return you could get. Whereas you send, not that you can get much for CJ, but if you were to send CJ, just hypothetically, to the Chicago Bulls, right? You're looking at more of an attractive pick versus sending him to the Golden State Warriors or to a contending team that would be, a bit more respectful of his leadership and his tenure in the league. But I think right now you're at the point you're asking CJ, all right, look, you're healthy. You got a bunch of, you just put up 2, 3 20-point games back to back. You're playing big minutes. Where you want to go? And we'll try to make it happen for you. We'll try our best to make it happen for you. I think Cleveland and Minnesota are a couple of options for CJ. And because they got their own injury situations going on, but I think Cleveland and Minnesota would be 2 good options to where you thread the needle.
I think Cleveland is the front runner for me. Just one, he's from there, and even to that point, Chaz, I see CJ behind the scenes, probably, if I'm him, probably behind the scenes is talking to Griff like, I'm controlling where I'm going. Like, you don't control this. One, like I controlled my way to get here, right? I'm doing the same thing. That won't change. And I think his voice, at least around the league, allows him to kind of do that. But that's the only player I would even have that conversation with if I'm Griff, right? That's the only player that's pretty much earned that right to do so. I'm not doing that with possible Zion or even Brandon. Just not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I say Cleveland too, because they actually have some of the mechanics set up with Strus and LeVert, the way they can actually do it. Like, that's another thing in this new landscape, this NBA landscape, like keeping in mind the Pelicans, whatever they do for CJ and even a Brandon trade, or even Zion, you're looking at taking multiple players back. Yeah. You only got one roster spot right now. So you would have, and you're in tax. So you would have to take back less money and create a roster spot. So you're looking at uneven trades for teams like who in that second apron who can't, put salary together, like Denver, like a couple other teams. It's just it does get pretty difficult. I think it's Houston for Brandon, and I think it's Cleveland for CJ. Honestly, I would look to move Brandon in December. December 15th, hopefully. But Houston playing so well, they're like, why would we want Brandon right now? But
I don't know. It just seems like they not to say it's like false hope, right? With with Houston, but do they believe that they're that good?
Right, exactly.
The current roster, and I think, from my perspective, I think they, although see through some of the bullshit that they kind of have, right? They don't necessarily love all the pieces that they have.
It's too many.
They're playing through it,
right?
So I think they can kind of make that move in adjustment.
So I've missed like most of the show. Trying to get a 3-year-old to bed is pretty tough. Do y'all want to keep going? Or do y'all want to save everything for Sunday night?
I mean, we here.
I was probably gonna dip in like the next 5 minutes. I gotta run the DraftKings. Let me run the DraftKings. I'll talk to you guys. Make sure you smash the like button, but we will be going again live on Sunday. So we'll be there at 8:00. We'll be recapping the Knicks game. We'll go about 10-15 more minutes here, and then we'll have the Sunday show. But let's hear from DraftKings real quick.
Getting some holiday shopping done this weekend? While you're at it, pick up some touchdowns. They're on sale at DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings has doorbuster profit boosts and bet one, get one promotions on all types of touchdown bets. Grab some TDs with DraftKings Sportsbook. They're on sale from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BOOT to opt in. That's code BOOT, BOOT, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/FTBall. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at NFL.com.
Appreciate DraftKings. So
grab some TDs. It's crazy.
Hey man, I had to read the paper. That's what it said.
Yeah, see, Jared. Yeah, exactly.
Santi's nice. I saw Santi do a drive from the right corner. He just did like a bullshit move. And I think it was Jerry. It was either Jerry or Missi. They just got lost. Yep. It's like, yo, what are you doing?
I do want to talk about a little bit about DeJounte and Trey Murphy. Ross, you talked about Trey Murphy like during these opportunities to shoot as much as possible. He goes 8 of 23 tonight, 2 of 8 from the field, 21 points, 9 rebounds. What did you think of his overall performance? Obviously not an efficient night, but I did see a couple things that I liked. Whether they didn't go in the he had a tough night shooting basketball, but I did like his aggressiveness. I thought he was okay, like attacking the rim. Got up 8 threes, which he's supposed to do. Got to the free throw line 4 times, but I like the way he kind of attacked the rim tonight and didn't really necessarily settle from deep.
Yeah, I mean, said it a few games ago. I'm not even worried. Like he hasn't shot the ball well at all this year from three. And I don't care. Like I know he's a good shooter. He kind of did this last year, right when he came back. I like, generally speaking, what I've seen from the other parts of his offensive game. He seems to be making an attempt to do more off the dribble. And that's all I need to see. It's the same exact logic that we talked about earlier in the show with Missi. You ain't going to win these games. The team is in shambles. I'm looking for individual progression. That's it. Anyone. So if Trey goes 11 for 30 next game, I'll still be happy because it'll show me that he's gotten more aggressive, that he's looking to take a different type of shot. Like you can't just stand behind the arc and wait. This is an opportunity to do more. The team just invested in you long term. Like let's go see what we have. So yeah, I'm good with it. I find he's tried to rebound a little more too. I don't know his rebound rate. Tonight. He had 9 tonight, but I don't know that his rebound rate overall is up. I'd have to go look at that. But it does seem like just watching the game that he's making a concerted attempt to rebound. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all I can ask for right now. I mean, it's still only his 5th game or something, 6th game. I mean, it's not played that many games. So
yeah, you got him sitting out games for reasons, right?
Well, but hard to get into a shooting rhythm doing that.
You're right.
Chung goes, Justin got a house fire or what? No, I have a 3.5-year-old daughter. That's what I have.
That's similar to a house fire. That's similar.
It's about similar. So yes, I'm sorry I've gone to the bathroom a couple times, but it is 7:00, so you just kind of go ahead.
The DeJounte thing, it don't necessarily trouble me, but I feel like I just haven't seen a good DeJounte game yet. Since he's been here, and I don't like the shots he's taking. I don't like the shots he's taking. It's real. I mean, considering the offense we're running out there, it's what can you do? We don't really have a system to generate good looks, but everything just looks so difficult. Everything looks so it's a lot of dumb zone shots. I was like, I don't really like those. But he's able to get to the free throw line. He got to the free throw line 6 times. A couple of those were, because the team was in the bonus. 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Like the rebound, and of course, 7 turnovers. Got to clean that up a bit. Got to keep in mind this is only his 2nd game back, but certain things I just don't understand what's going on with the team. Like, why is Javonte Green starting? Like, what? This why is he starting? He's taking 4 shots, and that's probably he has the minus 24 and 28 minutes. Not that plus minus is the end all be all, but why don't you just start JRE if that's the case? Just start
Brandon Boston. Just start. Yeah,
I'll start Brandon Boston.
Start Brandon Boston. Trey can play the 4.
Play Antonio Reeves.
That's what I don't get. What about Carlo too? It just
Carlo's in Birmingham.
But
Ross, still,
I don't care. I know. You're just saying,
but you have to have but you got to have a functional level of NBA. I'm not. You can't just throw. I mean,
you can.
Not to mention, it's you got to remember it's Black Friday. There's a lot of really good European bakeries that are having sales today. There's no way you could have expected Carlo to get from Birmingham, Europe. to Memphis to play a game tonight. That's an unreasonable expectation. But I don't know why you don't just start Brandon Boston because you've got an evaluation period here, and we can talk about this probably on Sunday. But if you do make a trade, you're gonna have to waive somebody. You need to start thinking about who you're gonna waive in the very near future now. And
it's probably gonna be Tice.
Probably. But you need to get a longer look at Brandon Boston to see if he's maybe somebody you want to keep long term. So I don't know why you wouldn't just start him and play him as much as possible. Start Reeves, play him as much as possible, just to see. Because one way or the other, you either need to see who what kind of cheap labor you can keep on the roster, or you need to see what young players might be able to help you in the future. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to start Javonte Green. Again, nothing against him as a player, but it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, y'all were talking about Trey. I just want to kind of talk about this. He's 29. Someone posted he's 29% from 3 this year. right?
Is he?
That's I think that's what
Yeah,
I might put a stat.
I think that's about right.
And I'm thinking to myself, who else has a depleted, shooting percentage? Also, gotta look at oh my God,
Hawkins.
Jordan Hawkins, right? Like they're not running anything for anybody. Like these guys are just shooting shots, and it's very difficult to do so. They're not really running actions for them, right? So I cannot. This is why coaching matters so much, because we cannot properly grade anybody because we have inept coaching. They don't have a baseline for anything. We talk about DeJounte's shot selection. Well, how else is he going to get shots? There's nothing run for him to get good shots. CJ's shots look decent because CJ has an array of moves to get open shots for himself. I don't think anybody else could do that or can do that. Trey doesn't have the dribbling ability to get his own shot like that. No, that's why a lot of his shots are pull up, fast break threes, and they don't necessarily look. What's up, Lito? They don't look necessarily good, to be honest. But he has to shoot them. He has to get them up because there's no other way for them to get decent looking shots up.
Let me ask y'all this: who y'all think? Because I have my idea, but who do y'all think up to y'all is safe on this roster?
I think it's Trey.
Trey, that's it. Herb's not safe. Nobody's safe besides Trey and Missy.
Yeah.
For right now, I don't think they would.
You can talk about what you're about to say, but I got a point.
No, I agree. I just that's probably my two.
And to that point, that's the linchpin for me. It's Trey. Everything would revolve around Trey, right? Because he's the one that's got his deal the last, right? Mm-hmm. Last one to get his deal.
You couldn't trade him even if you wanted to. That's
right. That's but even with that, like, okay, who plays the best around Trey? And then everything will make sense off that. That's why Willie Green wouldn't matter to me because he doesn't get Trey quality looks. So I have to move on from him. Like, who helps this dude play well? So I would move everyone if they don't help Trey Murphy. Not to say he's the best player on the team. He's just the one that got his money last.
And he's also the easiest to integrate. To great, right? Like he's easier than even I think Herb, and I think Herb is like pretty plug and play to just about anyone. Yeah. But Trey's just as plug and play, probably more because his one value of shooting is more valuable probably than Herb's like defense, and at least I think externally.
So I've been kind of paused in and out of the stream here, but I just saw from Shout Will. Jake Fisher said Pels are looking to buy despite all the rumors they haven't considered a gap year yet. If this is true, I'm not gonna say that. If
that makes sense to me, but I ain't gonna lie, Jake. Shout out to Jake Fisher. I like his work, but he's not really a Pelicans. He don't really.
That would be a crazy way to operate. That you're 4-16. Once again, Ross has gone through the numbers. I think someone pointed out like you have to go
20 games in. You got 60. You got 62 left. You just work back from that. You're already 12 under 500. So just to get
how many games out of the 10 seed? How many games out of the 10 seed, Chaz? 6 now?
I got.
And the 10 seed's what? The fucking Timberwolves, who I'm sure will eventually turn it around. Let me see.
I got it on league.
Yeah, and to be clear.
Oh yeah, it's over.
It's been 6 games back of the Spurs. Everybody's and by the way, everybody in that division. I know we hate divisions, but everybody in that division has jumped you. The Houston Rockets are way better than you. The Spurs are better than you. The Mavericks way better than you. The Rockets. I'm missing one more team. Grizzlies way better than you.
I also did this exercise where I was looking at the teams and I was like, well, realistically, only one or two of the teams you're behind will be tanking. And that's possibly Portland and definitely the Utah Jazz. So so Minnesota and Sacramento and Phoenix and the Spurs, you're probably not catching them no matter what. So,
and I don't think you're going to catch Portland because for the reason we talked about a few shows ago is that Portland is they can't. It's not that they can't tank, but they're already by the nature of their roster, they're tanking.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of young players that are trying to get. They're gonna win and lose no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
but they're not going to not play Scoot Henderson. They're not going to not play Shaden Sharp. They're not going to not play Donovan Clingan. Like they have their team for next year and the year after. Like they're not going to not play those guys. Now they might trade Jeremy Grant, but I don't even think that's going to matter in terms of like the wins and losses for them.
Right.
They're like the players that they're looking to develop are already on the roster. So you like, and that team is, I think, still better than you. Like that's the problem. Like they're going to win more games than you, even while actively not being good enough for the playoffs. Just a tricky situation there. They're in a bad spot.
Hey man, just keep doing what you're doing.
But
we'll
Justin,
figure it out.
But Justin, from what I've heard from people that have talked to folks in the know, like Griff still thinks that like there's a chance. Like he still thinks that we'll get everybody back and get on a run. I've been told this directly from people that talk to him.
Yeah, Griff's also
that's a scary.
Times, so
that is a scary proposition that they would be considering. Calling the Pelicans buyers is interesting. Like what, just given the salary cap situation and like what you have to trade, I'm curious what a buy would even look like.
Also, that's like when they called and offered Ingram for Sagoon. It's like, yeah, we'll call you back. Yeah. But it's like, what the fuck? I mean, what the heck? But yeah, so truthfully though, just looking at everything in totality, that's why I kept saying you don't have to actively tank. Like to me, I think if you played Brandon tonight and I don't know who else was out, Hawkins, I don't think it makes much of a difference. Truthfully, I'm just like keep doing what you're doing, and now you got agents potentially getting involved in these matters, and that's going to be interesting because shit, who knows if we see Brandon play again as a Pelican? You know, I wouldn't be mad at him if he didn't.
Also, I wouldn't be surprised if Zion. Look, if Zion doesn't come back, who knows? Anything's possible. This team with David.
Yeah, I mean,
with this team,
I wonder if any of those guys come back before Christmas. And speaking of Christmas,
Santa baby, this slip was sable under the tree for me. Being an awful good girl, Santa baby, just hurry down the chimney tonight.
So you can always count on David Griffin to lift the team's spirits and rally the troops. Shout out to David Griffin for this holiday season.
Maybe David Griffin will make a debut on Sunday. That'll be a good time to end right there. So appreciate everybody. Y'all go enjoy y'all's Friday night, 7:00. Make sure you smash the like button. We'll be live again Sunday night. We'll recap the Knicks game, but we are going to have a serious conversation about David Griffin and the future of this team. Once again, presented by 4D. Theo, shout out Theo's. Hey, looking for a late night eat? Scan the code right there, the bottom right. Order. They got 5 different locations. I mean, best pizza in the city right there. Presented by DraftKings, John Deere Sunshine, of course, Standard Mortgage. Powered by 4D as always. Appreciate everybody in the super. Appreciate all the super chats, guys. Y'all showing up every single night. Once again, we'll be live Sunday night after the Knicks game at 8:00 Central Time. Pelicans lose 120 to 109. We'll see y'all later.